Hello, YouTube. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy Saturday. Good evening to the person who just joined. If you like to state who you are, feel free to do so at this time. I am looking for interaction tonight as I witness LeBron James make history tonight. How many think that LeBron will make history tonight? I certainly think so. LeBron James, in my opinion, is one of the greatest basketball players that I have ever seen in my 31 years of living. I've been privileged to see Kobe Bryant play. I've been privileged to see Kevin Durant play. I've been privileged to see James Harden play. Not in person, but generally speaking, it's been a privilege for me to be able to experience greatness, in my opinion. So, on tonight, guys, I am sitting here on my Blackberry. No, this is not my current phone. My current phone is iPhone, Team iPhone, of course. It is currently 8:02 Eastern Standard Time here, and it's been a good day today. This week was rough for me personally. Last week was rough for me personally. I was sick for 2 weeks. This week I had a cold. Last week I had stomach virus. And it's funny how can I put this in transparency? I saw a post on Instagram that said God will wreck your plans if he sees that your plans are wrecking you. And I honestly came into 2020 with perspective, with motive, with goals, and I think every person should. But for me, I was actually I had a I had how can I put this? Hmm. I had a roadmap planned out, for lack of a better term. So when I got sick, the road got a little bumpy and it threw me off. It really threw me off. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me reply to this text I just got. My friend is going to watch the game with me. Stand by. I'm so sorry. Listen, this is an open minded live stream tonight, so please don't mind me as I. Okay. Okay. All right. So, anyway, I had a game plan. I had a roadmap planned out, smooth sailing, driving the car. You know what I'm saying? Like all smooth paving, no bumps, no roads, no nothing, anything like that. So when I got sick, I'm like, wow, it's been. I'm not gonna say that it was a rough start to 2020. After the second or third day of my first phase of sickness, I was like, whoa, this really took me for a loop. And it took me a while to get myself back into it. So when I started getting over the stomach virus and I started getting headaches, I started getting, my throat was hurting, I started having body aches. So I was like, oh boy, part two. Was not looking forward to it. So what I have here is Vicks NyQuil liquid caps. I'm gonna take this tonight. I have church in the morning. I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight. The side effects of this stuff is you get drowsy. What does this thing say? It says cold and flu nighttime relief. Okay, this says liver warning. This product contains acetaminophen. I probably pronounced that wrong. So this stuff puts you to sleep. All right. So going back to what I was talking about before I got that text from my friend, I actually forgot to remind her about the Lakers game tonight. But I got caught up. I knew I had to do this live stream as I promised to all my subscribers and to my visitors. And I honestly got sidetracked. I forgot to text her. So I reminded her about the game and apologized to her that I forgot to text her. So I ended 2019 strong, went into 2020 strong. It was like a whole month. Everything was like, I don't want to say perfect because nothing, I don't believe in that. But I had a nice roadmap planned out. So when I started feeling sick, I was like, wow. And I was in my bed and I started reflecting. I started just thinking about, okay, God, what are you up to? Many times we ask ourselves, why did this happen? Or why this? Why that? I've matured in that perspective. I started to understand that, like the Bible says in Romans 8:28, for we know that all things work together for the good for them that love the Lord. It's like something will happen and you ask why it happens. I used to do that, but now I just ask God, what are you preparing me for? So I thank God that I'm able to speak to all of you tonight because if I was not feeling better, to God be the glory, I honestly was going to postpone this live stream. But I thank God that I left work early yesterday. I rested. I had soup with crackers. Typical typical dish when you have a cold. I drank a lot of orange juice. I took a leave and the NyQuil caps that I showed before. So I was really able to rest a lot yesterday. I was so weak to the point where I couldn't exercise. I exercise practically 6 days a week. And I was so weak to the point where I could not pick up my weights. So I rested. I went to bed early yesterday around 8 o'clock my time, Eastern Standard Time. And I woke up this morning at 5:30, and I was very early to work. I was able to get a head start on everything. Excuse me. And it was a very quiet day at work. It was raining. A lot of people didn't come to the supermarket, and a lot of people were not at the guest services counter at my job. So it was smooth sailing. I left work at 4 p.m., went to the barber shop, and on my way, on my way home, I planned my week for next week, got myself organized, and I highly recommend a planner. This planner here is from Amazon. My other friend got it for me because she has Amazon Prime. I've always been the organized type, always been a 1, 2, 3 ABC type of person. If you're going to come to me with ABC, then you have to be ready for a D, E, and F response. Sort of like if someone were to make something for me, and you don't want to hurt the person, you just say what's on your mind practically. But there's a way to say it too. You can't really be all aggressive and that type of stuff. So I was able to do that, and behind me where I'm pointing, I have my church outfit for tomorrow. Thank God that I'm really feeling better, so I'm able to participate in both of the services that are taking place. We are celebrating 60 years that the church was founded in 19, I forgot the year, but if it's 60 years, it's got to be maybe 1950. Anyway, I can't think about it right now. So I'm thankful that I have my strength and that I'm able to say that I will more than likely do both services tomorrow, the morning service and the afternoon service. All right. So I'm actually looking for. All right. I know I said this was going to be what was my title? Open-ended live stream. See, I only have one person on here. For the person that's on here now, if you don't identify yourself, it's okay, but I appreciate you taking the time on this Saturday night to come in my live stream. I think there's a way. No, there isn't. Looks like I'm the only one here. So depending on the flow here, the mood, I may not stream all the way until 9 o'clock. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, I'm about to personally witness history right now with LeBron James passing Kobe Bryant for third all time in the scoring column. And being able to witness this man for as long as I can remember. I remember being in high school. I think I was a sophomore in high school in 2003 when LeBron James first got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, or he got traded to Cleveland. But him, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, if I'm not mistaken, they were all in the same um, draft class. And I always used to say that Carmelo was better when he first came because LeBron James did not have a jump shot. He had everything else. He had defense, he had stamina, he had offense, but he didn't have the jump shot when he first came into the NBA. So when I paid attention to Carmelo Anthony, I noticed that he was a shooter. He always was. And he always will be a shooter. So then I looked at Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. And when those three guys were in the Miami Heat from like 2012, 13, and nobody couldn't touch them. That dynasty was over. And then Golden State arose. So let me turn the tables here just a little bit. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, a coworker actually. And I asked her, I said, "Hey, how's everything going?" I've known her since middle school. So she told me what was going on. I'm not going to say it on here. But when she was telling me, I started thinking. It's like how I said before about going into 2020 with a roadmap, and then all of a sudden you find yourself holding on to the steering wheel, fighting the bumps, and as a pilot, the turbulence that you're experiencing. So I've talked to at least maybe 3 or 4 different people during that week, and they were saying how 2020 was a rough start for them. And when I think about me getting sick, I'll admit it was kind of a rough start for me too. But all that, after all that, I find myself here in front of this computer on this live stream on this Saturday, the 25th of January of 2020. God is good. God is good because I think about how it could have been worse. You know, at my job, I always ask people, "How you doing? How's your day going?" And I listen to the response. And even sometimes myself, I say it could be better. You know, whether it's financially, emotionally, physically, whatever better means to you. Then I just think about it and say it could be worse. That right there is pretty deep to me. It could be worse. You're right, it can be. I thank God that I have this roof over my head. I thank God that I have those clothes on my back. The other day, I bought my first suit. I thank God that I'm able to purchase that. And it means a lot to me that God has blessed me in so many ways that I can't even put it into words if I wanted to on this live stream tonight. And for those that don't know, yes, I am a Christian, saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. But like my founding pastor used to say, God rest his soul, and fire baptized. So I just think about how God has been so good to me and all that he has done, all that he has brought me from, and to all where he's bringing me to. So I was looking forward to this day all week long because it's the end of the week. It's a close of another chapter in this year. Not another chapter, excuse me, another page that is about to turn soon. And tomorrow is Sunday. It's already Sunday in many different places of the world, as I can imagine. And it's going to be another week, another work week, another. I'm not doing any classes this week. I'll more than likely work from home on Tuesday. And it's just going to be good. I decree and I declare in the atmosphere right now that whoever is watching this live stream, that next week will be a great week for somebody. All right, I am reading something on my phone on this BlackBerry. I know a lot of people remember this is the BlackBerry Classic. When I was about maybe 18 years old, I had my first BlackBerry. I believe it was the BlackBerry Pearl. I bought it from my old manager. I paid about $500 for that phone. That wasn't my first one. That was probably maybe my third or fourth phone. But when I first was introduced to the BlackBerry, I was like, wow, if you're the business type like myself, then this thing is the way to go. Now, you can have an iPhone and a BlackBerry at the same time. Manage your emails, your schedules, your conference calls, and just staying organized. That phone is just, and the encryption security is just out of this world. It is absolutely spectacular, that phone, man. So my very first phone was Track Phone. It's a prepaid service that has been out for at least a decade already. And they've done so many upgrades and all of these different types of enhancements that has blown my mind over the years, along with AT&T having 5G and all of these iPhones that are coming out right now. So I actually am thinking about a lot of people on YouTube do a get to know me tag, and I probably have some time now to maybe do a few questions. In a few moments, I more than likely will, but if not, I will do it in the future. And but I honestly want to just stay focused. I'm in a good rhythm right now. I'm flowing. I don't want to mess it up. I when I did my first live stream, I was very nervous, and I didn't have the concentration and the environment that I had then as I do now. It's just me here, and I'm really focused. I'm really calm. My mind is sharp, so I'm feeling real good. I'm not gonna break the ice, like they say. So, going back to the BlackBerry. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're whatever you are, and you feel the need to have a second phone, like for myself, this is my primary phone right here, this iPhone. And I have everything there, everything that I need. Siri is a very, very helpful assistant if you utilize her. Now, for the people that manually do their things, I don't take that away from you. That's absolutely great. But as in for me personally, I utilize Siri a lot. There's honestly only a certain time of the day and the week where I sit there on my phone and do maybe some small things like put some events in my calendar, review some text messages, kind of browse on Instagram, Facebook. Um, that's the only thing that I really, really do. If I have to make a phone call, if I have to send a text message, then Siri just helps me out with a lot of it. I have recurring events excuse me, that I have in my phone. And if anything changes, then I'll just say, hey Siri, so and so. So let me see. I If I were to tell Siri something right now, I wonder what I could tell her. Oh, I know. Let me see. Hey Siri, who am I?
You're Richard. That's what you told me. Anyway.
Siri is amazing. And I love the South African accent. Shout out to my people in South Africa, in Johannesburg and Cape Town, all over South Africa. Shout out to one of my subscribers who is actually from Swaziland. Shout out to Bridget, who is always supportive of everything that I take a part in, whether it's here or shout out, shout out. So I thought about maybe they don't have like company phones, maybe for example, like the CEOs or the COOs have, but I can still put a SIM card in there. I can still maybe unlock the phone if I want to, and have it for emails, calendar events, something like that. But honestly, BlackBerry is not how it used to be. And I don't know if it ever will be, in my opinion. When iPhone came out, it was pretty tough for BlackBerry. And then when Samsung started coming out with these Galaxy phones, and in my opinion, those are the top two phones on the market. So, well, it's 8:30. I have 30 minutes left on this live stream. So, I'm going to do a few get to know me tag questions here. let's see. Um, See, I didn't really want to start it because I wouldn't be able to finish it. But I'm gonna do what I can, and whatever I don't do, I'm going to do a part two. So I'm gonna start with this question here. Hold on. What is your most memorable vacation memory? Hmm, that's a good one. I am humbled to say that I try and do 2 trips every year. It was one year where I did 5, but there's actually 2 that are on my head right now. So I'm gonna just go with the most recent one. Last year, around October, November, last week of October going into November, I had the privilege to revisit Savannah, Georgia. And I went by myself. I'm a solo traveler. And it was an experience that I would never, ever forget. I went to downtown Savannah. I saw the historic part of Savannah, Georgia. And as much as I've traveled to the South within the last 2 years, I love it. If I had the opportunity to go back again this year, I would. But honestly, this year, the only trip that I have is North Carolina for the annual conference that my church and about maybe 5 or 10 other churches they do in the original Free Will Baptist Conference. And I'm looking forward to that. It's actually going to be a weekend trip. So being able to experience Savannah the way that I did, I didn't have the experience the first time because in 2017, I was going through a very, very rough time. I was going through divorce and I needed to get away and clear my head. I was not able to go to my home country of Puerto Rico. I wanted to get away, but I didn't know where to go. So I went ahead and went to Savannah the first time. It was good. I lifted a lot that I was going through, and that's another conversation for another day. But being able to have that privilege to revisit Savannah on better circumstances was, in my part, I'll say the least, was my most memorable vacation to answer that. Okay. This one says, do you use PC or a Mac? Right now I have a Windows laptop. I'm running Windows 10. This thing has an Intel Core i3 processor. I would like a MacBook because I am hooked on Apple. I have the iPhone, I have my AirPods right here, my Apple Watch is in front of the laptop. I wish this thing had a back camera like the iPhone does, but it doesn't. And I had an iPad, but it doesn't work. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to make time to actually fix it or replace it, do something with it. But I've always been a Windows person. I remember when Windows 95 first came out, we had floppy disks and floppy drives and all of that stuff. So I remember I remember. And the flight training software that I use only runs on Windows. So I've always been a Windows person. And so I have a laptop. I don't have a Mac. And that's that. All right. What's the next question here? Which one do I want to answer? Oh, here we go. Do you speak any languages and how well? Well, for the last 36 minutes, I've been speaking perfect English. I hope I have. I am actually bilingual. I speak 70%, 75% Spanish. Now, the only reason why I say that is because I'm Puerto Rican and I love my people. Please keep us in prayer as we are just going through a time right now. And I know Matthew says that these things would happen, but please keep Puerto Rico. For those that know the worth of prayer, please keep Puerto Rico in your prayers. For those that have traveled abroad, maybe let's say Mexico or Spain, I admire their Spanish. Just like I admire all languages in all countries and have respect for the cultures and everything, all of that stuff. Puerto Ricans, we speak broken Spanish. We could say, you can go to Mexico and hear "Donde estás?" but you go to Puerto Rico, you'll hear "Donde está?" So the difference there is we're not saying the full phrase, we're taking a letter out, and it's sort of like slang. I don't like to use that word, but for lack of a better term, I'm just going to use that respectfully and sensitively for the understanding and respect of this live stream. So as I speak, I'm actually working on improving my Spanish. I'm improving on my context, my language on it. And it's coming along. It's going to take me some time. My sister, who's a Spanish teacher, she's going to enhance my skills a bit more. So I am happy to say that I am bilingual. I know French, I know Creole. That's that's another, what's the word I'm looking for? Another conversation for another day, of course. But yeah, a lot of people say, "How do you know French? How do you know Creole?" I'll spill the beans another day. So to answer that question of do I speak any languages and how well, definitely English and Spanish are my languages there. But I know Creole, I know French. I understand the Creole language a lot. And French, I can speak a few words. I know one word in maybe two words in Chinese. Um, that's about it. That's as far as I could think right now. Okay. I'm going to answer one or maybe two more questions depending on the time that I have. And then I'm going to get off of here for the night. And I look forward to interacting with you all in the future on social media, on here. I like to go on here and watch videos and put comments on. So, with that being said, let's see how many. All right, I don't have any more questions to answer, unfortunately. So, in a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. So, a little word of encouragement before I go. Excuse me. Somebody may have gotten to a rough start in 2020. Maybe you lost a friend. You're going through a challenging time in your life. I could sit here and make theories. I could sit here and say A, B, and C. As in, for me personally, being sick, it was a bit challenging. Remember that God tells us in Deuteronomy to not be discouraged. Just because you're having a rough start, that doesn't mean you're going to have a rough finish. What I'm trying to say is that God will take you through this year if you let Him. So, with that being said, I want to thank those of you that have taken the opportunity to watch this live stream for 42 minutes and 47 seconds. I look forward to interacting with you all soon in the discussions tab, in future live streams, in videos and comments on social media. My Facebook, I'm going to, wait a minute, my Facebook name is the same as my YouTube. My Instagram, I am typing it right now. Feel free to follow me. And my Skype, I would put it up there, but I don't use it. I have WhatsApp, I don't use that, but let's talk. Subscribe. Feel free to comment down below anything that you guys want me to do in the future or anything like that, whatever. I'm an open book. So, God bless all of you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and may God bless you and your family. Remember, God loves you. This is Richard dropping the mic. Good night. God bless.